Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are unpacking just a fascinating, almost unbelievable medical case study out of Taiwan.
It's a remarkable case.
It really is. We're looking at a stack of reports all about a 51-year-old entrepreneur who didn't just, care for his diabetic father. He fundamentally reverse engineered his father's entire biology. So our mission today is to explore exactly how he did it. We're going to look at the data, the specific diet protocols, and, well, the sheer human will involved.
And that's the key part, the will.
Right. We're talking about a story that involves 400 used ballpoint pens, something called yam soup, and a recovery so dramatic that doctors called it a miracle.
It is. And, that word miracle, it gets thrown around a lot in headlines, but what we have here is actually a blueprint. It's a story about replacing luck with just extreme discipline and data.
Exactly. And before we even get to the protagonist, we have to look at the battlefield. The data shows that in Taiwan, roughly 1 in 10 people have diabetes.
Which is already high.
It's very high. But if you zoom in on the southern regions, the prevalence is even higher. It's a massive public health crisis.
It is a silent epidemic, really. But this specific case study stands out because the starting point was so dire. We are talking about a patient whose glycated hemoglobin, or HbA1c, was sitting at 11.8.
I want to pause on that number, 11.8, because it might not sound like much if you're not in the medical field, but the way I've heard it described, it's like a finger prick tells you the weather right now. But the HbA1c, that tells you the climate of the last 3 months. And an 11.8 climate it's catastrophic.
That is a great analogy. To be precise, a normal level is below 5.7. Anything over 6.5 is diabetic. At 11.8, your blood is essentially behaving like syrup.
Like syrup? Wow.
So it's thick, it's damaging the delicate vessels in your eyes, your kidneys, your nerve. The father in this story was on 40 units of insulin per meal.
40 units.
Per meal, just to stay alive.
And the doctors were blunt about it too, right?
Yep.
They said he was 1 step away from dialysis. This wasn't a watch your diet situation. This was end stage management.
Absolutely.
But, and here's the hook, the son, Chen Hao, managed to get that number down so effectively that his father eventually required 0 insulin, no injections.
Which, scientifically speaking, is incredibly difficult to achieve once you're that far down the progression. But as we dig into the report, we see this wasn't magic. It was a methodology.
So let's meet the architect of this turnaround, Chen Hao. Back in 2016, he's not a doctor. He's a businessman.
Right. A very successful entrepreneur in the mold and dye industry. He'd built a career in China and was actually in the final stages of planning a major expansion into the Japanese market.
And I think that background is so crucial to this story. The mold and dye industry, that's high precision manufacturing. You're dealing with tolerances of micrometers.
Absolute precision.
Right. If a mold is off by a hair, the whole product is ruined. It's a world of absolute quality control.
Exactly. You don't guess in mold making, you measure. And that mindset is exactly what he brought home when he got the call.
The call, the moment that shifts the entire trajectory of his life.
His mother called him, and she's illiterate. She was totally overwhelmed and just terrified. She told him, I can't handle this anymore. She said the father was taking the wrong medicine.
Yeah, taking the wrong medicine. That phrase, it just signals a total loss of control.
It's the nightmare scenario.
For sure. You're abroad, building an empire, and you realize the foundation back home is just crumbling. So Chen makes a decision that I think most people would struggle with. He doesn't just send money, he doesn't hire a nurse.
He liquidated everything, shut down the Japan expansion, sold off his assets. He dropped a high-flying corporate career to move back to his hometown in Tuku, Yunlin.
He went from being a CEO to a full-time caregiver.
Overnight.
And when he landed in Tuku, the reality must have just hit him like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just dad is sick, it was chaos.
Total chaos. The report mentions days where he was driving his parents to 5 different hospitals. In a single day.
5?
5. Different specialists, different opinions, conflicting medications. The neighbors actually thought he was losing his mind because he was running around so frantically, but he was, trying to audit the situation. He was trying to figure out why, despite all this medical attention, his father was dying.
And this brings us to the root cause analysis. When he looked at why the diabetes was so bad, he had to look at the environment. Tuku, Yunlin, southern Taiwan.
Right. And there's a stereotype that diabetes is a disease of the wealthy. Too much red meat, too much alcohol, rich banquets.
Yeah, rich people food.
But in southern Taiwan, the dietary threat is different. It's comfort food.
We're talking about the classics, traditional cakes, pastries. But the big villain in this story was something called Jing.
Zhang. That thick, savory meat soup, it's a staple. It's delicious.
Right.
But from a metabolic standpoint, it is a disaster.
Okay, let's break that down. Why is gang worse than, say, a bowl of rice and meat?
It all comes down to the chemistry of the thickening. To make jang thick, you use starch, usually cornstarch or potato starch, dissolved in water and heated. When you do that, you're essentially gelatinizing the carbohydrates.
So you're breaking down the structure of the starch before it even enters your mouth. You're pre-digesting it.
Precisely. If you eat brown rice, your body has to work to break down that matrix to get to the sugar. But in a thick soup, the work is already done. It hits your stomach and floods the bloodstream almost instantly.
It's a liquid sugar bomb.
The liquid sugar bomb that just happens to taste savory.
And because it's not sweet, you don't feel guilty eating it.
Exactly. It's a glycemic trap. And the father loved it. He also loved soft pastries. And to complicate things even further, the father was suffering from dementia.
Oh, wow.
So you have a patient who is biologically crumbling, addicted to these high glycemic comfort foods, and is cognitively unable to understand why he can't have them.
This is where that mold and die mindset kicks in. Chen Ying Hao looks at this failing system, his father, and decides to run it like a project. He refused to hire a caretaker. He said, nobody is going to be meticulous enough.
He treated it like a manufacturing defect that needed to be engineered out, and the level of commitment was, well, it was extreme. He moved into the living room.
Sophistry.
He slept on the living room sofa for 6 years. 6. He wanted to be within earshot of his father's bedroom. If his father woke up, needed water, needed the bathroom, or was just confused, Chen was there in seconds.
He eliminated the variable of unattended time.
That's a perfect way to put it. And then we get to the data collection. The source material mentions 400 ballpoint pens.
That's the visual that just stays with you.
It is. A stack of notes taller than a man and 400 empty pens. Chen took a diabetes education sheet from a physician at Dalinsichi Hospital, and he treated it like the technical specifications for a machine. He bought an electronic scale.
And he wasn't just weighing the food to see how heavy it was he?
No. He was calculating macronutrient ratios. He weighed every single gram of carbohydrates, protein, and fiber. But the real genius was the feedback loop he created. We could call it correlation tracking.
So he's essentially A/B testing his father's diet in real time.
That is exactly what it was. He would feed his father a specific meal, say rice porridge with pickled cucumbers. Then he'd measure the blood sugar spike 2 hours later. He recorded the input and the output.
And when he saw that the pickled cucumbers caused a massive spike,
Which was likely due to hidden sugar in the brine.
he just cut them from the production line immediately.
Immediately. It's incredible because, most people just follow a general low-carb list. But Chen was building a custom data set for his father's specific metabolism. Pickles spiked out, so pickles are out. Spinach is fine, so spinach stays.
It just removes all the guesswork.
All of it. And that data gave him the confidence to fight the food war because he had to take away the yang. He had to take away the pastries.
But you can't just hand a bowl of steamed broccoli to an elderly man who loves thick meat soup and expect him to be happy.
No, and Chen understood that. He knew that for his father, texture was just as important as taste. So he engineered a replacement. He used what we might call the yam trick.
The yam trick. Okay, how did that work?
Well, he realized he needed that thick, mucilaginous texture of the starch slurry, but without the glycemic spike. So he used mountain yam and wood ear fungus. When you blend and cook those, they release these natural gums and fibers that thicken the soup.
So it feels like yang in the mouth.
It mimics the mouthfeel perfectly. The father thought he was eating his favorite thick soup, but chemically he was eating high-fiber vegetables. Chen literally tricked his father's palate to save his pancreas.
That is brilliant. It's like molecular gastronomy applied to caregiving. So what about the breakfast? You mentioned the porridge and pickles were out.
Swapped entirely. He moved to 100 grams of brown rice mixed with 200 grams of vegetables. He inverted the ratio. Instead of a bowl of starch with a garnish of veggies, it was a bowl of fiber with a side of starch.
Slows down the sugar absorption.
It slows down gastric emptying, meaning the sugar hits the blood as a slow trickle rather than a tsunami.
But there were some things he couldn't replicate right, like the angkuku, their red tortoise cakes.
Those had to go. They're made of sticky rice flour and sugar. There's no hacking that. So Chen instituted the family ban. He held a family meeting and laid down the law. No bread, no steamed buns, no cakes.
Even for his mom.
Especially for his mom. She used to bring sweets back from the Mazu temple offerings that are blessed. Chen made her hide them. If it was in the house, it was contraband.
Now, this is where the dementia aspect becomes really interesting, because usually we view dementia as the enemy of treatment.
Right. The patient forgets to take meds, forgets dietary restrictions.
But Chen found a way to use the dementia as a tool.
It's the dementia paradox. Because the father's short-term memory was failing, his desire was driven entirely by visual cues. If he saw the red tortoise cake, he would demand it and get angry if he couldn't have it.
But if he didn't see it?
He forgot it existed.
Out of sight, out of mind. Literally.
Literally. So by keeping the house completely sterile of those trigger foods, Chen bypassed the conflict. The father would happily eat his brown rice and yam soup because in his immediate reality, those were the only options. The memory loss actually made the strict adherence possible.
That is such a profound insight. It turns a tragedy dementia into a tactical advantage. So we have the diet, the data, the 400 pens, the sofa sleeping. How long did it take to see results? Because an 11.8 A1C does not drop overnight.
No, it was a grind, a 6-year grind of this relentless consistency. But the insulin requirements began to drop. They started at 40 units per meal. Then, based on the blood sugar logs, the doctor lowered it to 36, then 32, then 28.
Watching that number count down must have been agonizingly slow, but also incredibly validating.
It's the feedback loop working. And then came the day of victory. They went in for a routine checkup. The nurse looked at the latest logs, this mountain of data Chen had brought in, and she paused. And she told him, "Congratulations, starting tomorrow, no more injections."
From one step away from dialysis to zero insulin. That is a staggering turnaround.
It is. And the father, in his childlike state, he was just happy, he was smiling, but Chen's reaction is the one that really gets me.
What does he do?
The report says he excused himself, went into the hospital bathroom, locked the door, and cried for 10 minutes.
Oh man, that hits hard. That's not a business victory. That is 6 years of sleeping on a sofa, 6 years of terror that your father is going to die in your watch, all of it just releasing at once.
It's the decompression of a son who gave up his entire life to save another.
I want to bring in some expert analysis here from Dr. Hong Bo-Ru at Taipei Hospital. Because when we hear stories like this, there's a risk of giving people false hope. I mean, is this result typical?
That's a very important distinction to make. Dr. Hong emphasized that this is scientifically sound. It's based on the principle of beta cell rest. If the pancreas isn't completely dead, removing the glucose toxicity allows the insulin-producing cells to recover some function.
Okay, so the biology makes sense.
The biology is standard. But he clarifies that while the biology is standard, the execution was the miracle.
So the miracle wasn't the medicine, it was the project management.
Exactly. Very few families have the resources, the time, or the sheer willpower to weigh every gram of food and sleep on a sofa for half a decade. Dr. Hong called it a miracle of filial piety and discipline, not some medical mystery.
It really highlights the gap between knowing and doing, doesn't it? We all know vegetables are good, but do we have the discipline to trick our palate with wood ear fungus for 6 years?
That is the variable. The education sheet the Bible Chen used is available to everyone. The method is public, the application is rare.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the takeaways? I mean, obviously we aren't telling our listeners to quit their jobs and confiscate their parents' pastries tomorrow.
No, that's not realistic. But there are scalable lessons. First, the data. You don't need 400 pens, but you should know what foods spike you. We are all bio-individual. Maybe for you, it's not the rice, it's the tropical fruit. You don't know until you check.
And the concept of texture substitution. I love that. Don't just take away the comfort food. Engineer a safer version. Match the mouthfeel, change the chemistry.
Right. And finally, I think the definition of care.
Yes, I want to end on that note.
Yeah.
Because this story forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question about how we treat the elderly.
Go on.
Well, we often equate love with indulgence. We visit our parents and we bring them the cake, the sweet soup, the treats. We think, oh, let them enjoy their final years. We see restriction as being mean or unloving.
That is the dominant cultural script, absolutely. Food is love. To deny food is to deny love.
But Chen Yanghao's story flips that completely upside down. In this case, true love looked like a boot camp. True love was saying no to the young cuckoo. True love was strict, mathematical, and uncompromising. It forces us to ask, when we give our parents that extra slice of cake because it makes them smile in the moment, are we being kind? or are we just being lazy?
That is a heavy question. It suggests that sometimes being the villain who enforces the rules is actually the highest form of devotion.
Because that villainy bought his father years of life without dialysis. It's a powerful redefinition of what it means to be a good son or daughter. Real love isn't always sweet.
Sometimes it's brown rice and strict data
And 400 ballpoint pens.
and 400 pens.
Something to think about the next time you're deciding what to bring to Sunday dinner. Thanks for diving in with us. Stay curious, stay healthy, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.